The question of Iraq is not only one that there are differences between the US and Iran, the other is that of nuclear disarmament. Is at any point Iran prepared to discuss the question of disarmament directly with the United States?
موضوع عراق یه موضوع بین ایران و امریکا نیست.
The issue of Iraq is not an issue between Iran and America, and we cannot say that the second issue between Iran and America after Iraq is the nuclear issue. The issue of Iraq is a problem that the Americans are grappling with inside Iraq due to their wrong policies. Iran has continuously been part of the solution to the problems in the region. Iran has constantly supported the political process and the process of nation building in Iraq. We have supported the will of the people of Iraq and have not interfered in the internal issues of Iraq. We respect and support that which is the decision of the people of Iraq. However, on the issue of the nuclear matters, what Iran is insisting on in regards to the nuclear issue is its legal rights. No one says to us that we do not have this right. Even in the resolutions that they issue, it is stipulated that the members of the NTP have the right to nuclear energy. What we are saying is that this right must practically materialize. In the past, we were of the assumption that with the help of some countries, we could make use of this right of ours. Based on this assumption, in the distant past, we signed different nuclear cooperation agreements with countries such as America, France, and Germany. Our first cooperation agreement with America dates back 50 years, signed on the 5th of March 1957. We also had agreements with other countries such as France. We were 10% partners in the Ordif nuclear plant for the enrichment of uranium for energy use. We had an agreement with Germany to build the Bushehr nuclear plant, and they started the project. However, over time we found out that with the collapse of the Shah in Iran and the fulfillment of the will of the nation of Iran, they did not honor their pledges. Therefore, we can no longer trust them and do not have faith in fulfilling our rights through them. As a result, we have begun to do it ourselves, and over the past years we have managed to develop an indigenous nuclear technology and now have enriched uranium. From the beginning, we have declared that our aim and purpose are peaceful, and we are committed to the peaceful use of nuclear technology. From the onset, the Americans asked, why do we want to have nuclear energy? Iran has oil, therefore it does not need nuclear energy, they say. Conveniently, they have forgotten that 50 years ago they had signed an agreement with us and pledged to produce 20,000 megawatts of electricity through nuclear stations in Iran. They have forgotten that they themselves produce 25% of their energy needs through nuclear plants. When these issues were raised to them, they conceded and said, okay, we have no problem with the production of nuclear energy in Iran, but Iran must not be able to produce nuclear fuel. So we asked, how are we to acquire nuclear fuel? They said they will guarantee our supply of nuclear fuel. They said they will guarantee our supply of nuclear fuel. We told them that in the past they had agreed to build for us here a nuclear plant, and they did not honor their pledge and guarantees. We cannot trust them. Therefore, we decided to produce our own nuclear fuel. And, as a result, the process of uranium enrichment and production of nuclear fuel began in Iran. They said Iran wants to make nuclear weapons, and this is the great lie that the Americans have tried to spread in the world public opinion. They tried to say Iran is after nuclear weapons. Our position, both from the religious point of view and a very clear political analysis and understanding of the issue of nuclear weapons is very clear and precise. We are against the production and acquisition of nuclear weapons. Based on this position, we are pro-UN resolutions that insist on the reduction and decommissioning of nuclear weapons. Therefore, our position in regards to nuclear weapons is clear. Who should determine whether Iran had moved towards acquiring nuclear weapons? Who has the right to declare whether Iran has deviated from the peaceful use of nuclear technology? The UN watchdog for the nuclear weapons is very well known to the world community. The IAEA has this responsibility. Unfortunately, America and its allies, in a political move, shifted the matter to the UN Security Council. We, in the past 6 months, have initiated a new path with the IAEA and, based on a model, announced our readiness to answer the entire past questions on the issue of the nuclear program, though we had answered their questions on ad hoc basis. We reached an agreement with the IAEA, and they forwarded their questions in 6 parts, and we answered their first part. Mr. Al-Brady said there are no problems. The second part, which were related to part 1 and 2, and are the most important parts of the questions, we answered them too, and in the last report of the IAEA, it was made clear that we have totally cooperated and that our response is in full compliance with the findings of the IAEA. This shows that Iran has not deviated in its nuclear activities. In less than 3 months, we reached such a level that the remaining questions may only take 2 to 3 months to answer. We call upon all parties to support this process and not to threaten Mr. Al-Brady. They should aid and support this process so that the process runs its full due course. When this process runs its course and ends, and if the IAEA announces that it has analysed all the answers and there is no deviation, then why is it that some parties are insisting to prove their lies? There is no reason for that. They could simply say that we made a mistake, or we thought Iran is moving towards weapons. And now that the IAEA is saying that they are not moving towards weapons, we accept that. In such an event, the situation would normalise, and we would be like any other country. Then one has to see that all countries should cooperate with the IAEA, and they too should follow the normal course.
There is another nuclear power in the region, and that is Israel. The US contends that Iranian nuclear capability is a threat to Israel, that Iran would use nuclear weaponry against Israel. Is there any fundamental base to that kind of allegation?
When we say that the discussion in Iran is a discussion on nuclear energy and not nuclear weapons, then there is no room for Iran to be concerned on the issue of nuclear weapons. However, the second point to which you pointed, yes, it is a threat to the region. The very presence of that regime in this region with its nuclear warheads remains a threat to the area. At the same time, we are of the opinion that today nuclear weapons could not be a good solution to any crisis. If nuclear weapons are a good solution to crisis, then they should have prevented the collapse of the former Soviet Union. They should have helped in the last summer war of the Zionist regime when it invaded Lebanon. They should have helped America in its war in Iraq. We believe that nuclear weapons do not help in resolving of crisis.
You mentioned the issue of Lebanon. Well, you've had a meeting recently with your Syrian counterpart discussing that particular issue. What can Iran and its close ally Syria do in terms of help resolving that ongoing political dispute within Lebanon?
Yesterday, I spoke to Mr. Ban Ki-moon, the UN Secretary General, in depth on the phone. And as you said, I had discussions with the foreign ministers of Syria, France and Saudi Arabia in the past weeks. We're of the belief that the problem has a Lebanese solution, and the different parties in Lebanon do have the ability, the know-how and the capacity to reach a negotiated settlement, providing there is no foreign interference. That is why we have supported the position of Mr. Nabi Berri, which calls for an agreed settlement for the post of presidency. And we continue to support that position. We hope that in the remaining days in the course of their discussions, they reach an agreement to appoint a president through consensus. A person who can play a role in the safeguarding of the unity of Lebanon and safeguarding all the parties of Lebanon. We cannot do much in practical terms except to encourage all parties to aim to solve this problem, and through the process of discussions and negotiations, which are the most appropriate formula in reaching agreement on the presidency.
A last question, and thank you for giving us this much time. What can Iran do to bring about peace within the region? What can your nation do to help resolve the many disputes that are occurring at present?
ملت ایران ملت صلح دوست.
The nation of Iran is a peace-seeking nation. It's a nation that believes in dialogue and friendship with its neighbors, its region, and the world. You have seen the background of Iran is one of peace and friendship. Even though continuous wars in the course of history have been imposed on us. In the last 30 years, Iran has been part of the solutions to the problems of the region. For instance, in the case of Afghanistan, the invasion of Kuwait, and also the issue of Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Tajikistan, as well as other regional crises, we try to play a constructive role for the sake of peace. At the same time, we believe that peace must have the right foundation, and therefore we believe that justice is the fundamental pillar of peace. If peace is pursued and it is not attained, then we should doubt the declared intentions that are announced. Therefore, we do not see any success coming out of the Annapolis meetings, because those who are the organizers of the Annapolis meetings are not after peace. They are after the reconstruction of the broken and defeated image of the Zionist regime in the region, which is totally determined on the demise of the nation of Palestine. The participants of the Annapolis meetings must tell their people what these meetings actually achieve. They need to make clear what rights of the Palestinians they restored. The answer to this question is historic and very important. Iran, through the UN Resolution 598 and its 8th clause, which is related to the regional security, and through cooperation in bilateral relations with its neighbors, as well as through GCC, tries to extend its cooperation in the economical, social and security fields. It is through such a framework that we could reach the desired security in the region, and in such case there would be no need for the presence of foreign forces in the region. The foreign forces, sooner or later, must leave our region, and the countries of the region will then live in peace and prosperity.
Foreign Minister Manouchehr Mottaki, thank you very much indeed for talking to Al Jazeera.
Thank you.